Hey everybody, welcome to the FN Studios. I am John Ramdeen. He is Robin Black. We are less than 2 weeks away from the UFC's back-to-back-to-back shows, culminating with UFC 194, Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo battling for the 145-pound championship. But there is a slew of top-notch mixed martial arts action that we haven't even talked about. Edson Barboza taking on Tony Ferguson, of course, Damian Maia and Gunnar Nelson. But I think a fight that is going to steal the entire weekend. I know there's a Thursday involved there, but Max Holloway, Jeremy Stephens. I think one of the reasons why is because, you know, before we had a chance to talk to these guys, you have a certain opinion based on the way that they fight. They might not be the brightest guys out there because they take a lot of risks. They'll leave their feet, the safety of the mat, and risk getting knocked out for the entertainment of the crowd. But after talking to these guys, you realize they are very intelligent. Everything is deliberate when they get inside of the cage. And first things first, they're here to entertain the crowd.
Yeah, and that's just, I think, in their genetics. It's just how they are. It's the way that they take risks and the way that they're not only willing to, but they use risk to pursue winning. And that's just who they are. And they are very smart, both of them. Max Holloway, we got to know him a little bit in Saskatchewan, and his manager was like, who works with like 20 guys, like, honestly, this kid is one of the smartest. And you know, we kind of thought that about Robbie Lawler too.
Yeah.
And man, Robbie Lawler is highly intelligent. So do not let some of these guys, sometimes they just don't feel like talking to the press, because for the most part, the media are tomato cans. And in other cases, they express themselves physically and they express themselves with their heart in the cage. They're not talkers, but yeah, those two are very smart. And there's an odd method to that madness of taking risks. Sometimes it is through risk that you win, and it takes a lot of intelligence to understand how to use that risk. It also takes a lot of courage to go pursue it.
When you think of the matchup, Max Holloway, very smooth with all of his striking, great decision making. Jeremy Stephens can be that fighter, but there are often times when he gets into a brawl mentality. What do you expect will transpire at UFC 194?
This is one of those ones when you look at the two of them standing next to each other, right away you start to get certain ideas about what's important. Max Holloway has a long reach. He's used it to keep you out there, like, you know, that annoying kid like that you hold out there and he swings and you can't get you. That's kind of what he does, and he keeps you on the end of it, but he also moves his feet deceptively well. You saw Cub Swanson, who's a fantastic fighter, great at closing distance, sets up his travels with punches, have a hard time. You're watching and like, you know, the reach isn't that large, but Holloway was able to move his feet, so Cub is pursuing him while he's moving away. That's going to be the challenge for Jeremy Stephens, but Stephens will invite you to punch, slip, and move forward on the slip and try to get to your chin that way. It is a badass fight.
Of course, so we talked about the main event, the co-main event, Chris Weidman and Luke Rockhold. Of course, there are other implications at 185 pounds with Yoel Romero and Jacare, but we also have to talk about that 170-pound matchup, because I was thinking, what are the best fights over the course of those 3 days? And as much as I love Holloway and Stephens, and I really do believe they are going to deliver one of the fights of the weekend, it is the welterweight matchup between Damian Maia and Gunnar Nelson, two jiu-jitsu masters in action who are now clearly high-level mixed martial artists. You believe that Gunnar Nelson will be more than happy to engage Damian Maia, the well-respected high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner on the canvas.
Without question. I think he's mentally strong, strategically, as far as how you think about your own mentality and your own choices in the fight. He does not want this to be, it's on the feet, that's great for me. Oh no, I'm on the ground. He can't have that mentality. If and when it goes to the ground, he's got to enjoy the challenge of playing with Damian Maia. Take it as an enjoyable challenge. I'm going to pass him. And not, oh no. And Rory was underneath Damian Maia at times, and he just dealt with it. And that allowed him to come back and win rounds 2 and round 3. And the key there was he was never panicked. You can't. You panic, you give up your neck. Next thing you know, it's like this, and that's the end of the thing, and you can't even believe it. And he will welcome that game on the ground. But as beautiful as the jiu-jitsu game will be, it's how they use the rest of the game to set up the jiu-jitsu and how they use the grappling on the ground to get up and strike in and out of that grappling. It's going to be a great one. There's a million great fights. There's 30 fights this weekend.
Wouldn't it make more sense for Gunnar Nelson to try to engage Damian Maia in the stand-up department? You look at, and Damian Maia has improved his striking since he first entered the UFC, but clearly we know his path to victory, and his path is to utilize that very underrated wrestling grappling to force the fight down to where he is in complete control on the canvas. I know all you have to do is look at the highlight of Gunnar Nelson, the highlights of Gunnar Nelson, and any type of no-gi grappling or jiu-jitsu competition. He knows what he's doing. He was able to control the powerful Jeff Monson on the canvas. But why not try to take Damian Maia out, especially if you're using MMA math, which is, I know it's flawed, but Gunnar Nelson loses to Rick Story. Damian Maia owns Rick Story.
I think Gunnar Nelson will gladly have the fight on the feet. And he will pursue keeping the fight on the feet to a certain extent, but not to any kind of panicked extent. This idea that if I get too close to you, I have to panic and go back. Yes, Gunnar Nelson uses circular movement and linear movement really well together. So if you're coming in a straight line at him, he's circling. If you're circling around him, he penetrates in on a straight line. He's very good at it. But at different times, as a guy comes in, Damian Maia's simple game has been to stay super calm when a guy came into territory, and rather than flee, like I talked about Max Holloway doing as Jeremy Stephens approached him, just gently come towards him. So a guy is moving towards you, don't go back, go towards him gently, calmly, and just get that body lock. And that's going to happen at some point. No matter how much Gunnar Nelson wants it to not happen, it will happen. And when it does, he's got to welcome the ground game.
And he can't put his arm down and get it broken like Dong Young Kim did. Also, Uriah Faber taking on Frankie Saenz. If you're Uriah Faber at this point, are you thinking, okay, we know that Jose Aldo has had issues in the past. We're not sure if he's going to continue or how far he's going to continue his mixed martial arts career. Conor said he has a feeling that Aldo could bail out of this fight. If you're Uriah Faber, are you confident that you might get that call if the 145-pound champion is out of the game?
If you are physically and mentally and emotionally and everything training for Conor McGregor, that's going to work out really well if you end up fighting Frankie Saenz. So I suspect he is very much focused on the possibility of fighting Conor, but I think Aldo's going to be there, and I think it's going to be a brilliant fight.
3 fight cards in 3 nights, and we have you covered leading into all the action. We have post-fight press conferences as well as preview shows for every single one of these fights, December 10th all the way to December 12th. That's it for us. Don't go anywhere. More Fight News Now Extra is coming at you. This program is brought to you by Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, available December 1st, 2015.